Hello everyone. In this video I want to show how you can reach 40,000 DPS on the training golem. Before we get started, I want to first explain why this is even a worthwhile goal to pursue. Now, as you may know, is that in actual encounters, you are always going to be limited by mechanics, by downtime, etc. Your damage will just be not the same as in an ideal scenario. However, the ideal scenario sort of puts a ceiling on how much damage you can do in fights while you're not distracted by mechanics. So by raising the ceiling in the ideal scenario on the golem, hopefully you will also see improved numbers in actual fights, which is what we mostly care about. So in this video, I really want to show you how you can get to 40,000 DPS. Now 40,000 is a pretty arbitrarily chosen goal. I think it's a good milestone because it's a nice round number. And because nowadays with all the power creep going on, it is something that I believe most players who put a little bit of effort into it can actually work towards reaching. So before we can actually start practicing, we first have to choose a class. And for that, I go to Snowcross and click on the list of benchmarks. And I'm met with a giant selection of classes. Now, you may notice that some of the easier classes, let's actually pick DPS here. Some of the easier pure DPS classes are at the bottom here. Condi Virtuoso, Condi Scourge, simplified Condi Mechanist with no kits, etc. And while these are easy classes in general, their benchmark being about 40,000 makes it actually extremely difficult to reach 40,000 on the golem with them. Well, because in order to do that, you need to be perfect on them. And being perfect on a class is always difficult, no matter which class it is. On the other hand, if you take something harder, maybe up here, 47,000, you may find that reaching 47,000 DPS or 48,000 on Condi Druid is absurdly difficult, but reaching 40,000 on Condi Druid is just about 80% of its benchmark, which is much easier to reach than doing it on a class that is close to 40k here. Nevertheless, in real encounters where mechanics are going on, you may see that these classes are more easily able to translate their damage to the real fight, whereas these classes up here might, in some situation, lose more damage of the benchmark. So it's not to say that these classes at the bottom here are bad. It's just that for this purpose of reaching 40,000 on the golem, you're much better served choosing something from up here. Now, the build I'm going to choose is a build that combines the ease of reaching 40,000 DPS on the golem with a very good application to real fights. And that is going to be a Condi Mechanist build, specifically this one with one kit, has a 43,000 benchmark, and we're going to show how to reach 40,000 on it. And yeah, let's just get into it. Now, the first thing you're going to need is you need a complete build. And the build obviously are the runes, the gear, or Viper here, relic of the fractal, very important, putting a sigil of earth and geomancy in your spear. And then you have buff food, which is important that you have the correct one. And finally, there are stat infusions. Now, I know people say stat infusions are a very small effect. It's only 18 stat infusions with +5, so that's 90 stat points, which boils down to about 2.5% damage increase. But for the purpose of this milestone, if you want to reach 40,000 DPS, actually I recommend that you get stat infusions, because they are only 800 DPS or so if you do the math, maybe 900. But this may very well be the difference between being at 39,000 DPS and 40,000 DPS. So once you get closer to the benchmark, closer and closer, the more and more important these stat infusions will be to actually make this milestone. So I think it's worth investing in these infusions. And if you don't have them and don't have the gold to get them, well, then maybe you should adjust your goal downwards slightly, or you have to just work so much harder to reach 40,000. And that's just how it is in this game. Gear is a big important factor of your damage output. Obviously, you want the correct trade loadout and the utility skills. And now we're going to talk about how to play Condi Mechanist. So in the Golem area, we are going to now apply boons from the console. On Condi Mechanist, you can just get away with applying all boons and applying all conditions. But on other builds, you may have to choose different conditions you want to avoid, maybe applying fear or applying too many of them. So please consult the respective benchmark that you're trying to replicate. But we're really providing a step-by-step guide to Condi Mechanist here. So this is what we use. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place the mech abilities on autocast, use buff food. We use that bread here, and we use the tuning crystal. Where do we have it? Yeah. And I want to slowly build up the rotation for you so you can actually follow along. To slow myself down, I'm going to just use my mouse to click my abilities. Obviously, you want to use your keyboard, so you're faster than me. But this allows you to have some realistic goals you can work on step by step. What I also did is that in my gear, I removed my stat infusions. So you have about 800 DPS advantage that you can, in each step, use to get an advantage over me. And actually, despite having bad RNG or something or making slight mistakes, you can still beat my numbers. So the key skills that we really have as Condi Mech here are my Spear 3 and Spear 2. And the way that Spear 3 works is that when I use it, a few seconds later, I can use it again to reactivate depending on how often I hit in the meantime. So the nice thing about this is that if I use Spear 3 into Spear 2, like this, after a few seconds, my Spear 3 and my Spear 2 are ready at the same time again. Now go on cooldown at the same time. So I can just use always Spear 3 and Spear 2. And what I recommend that you do is that you just practice this part here before you advance to the next step. So I'm now going to do one golem pull where I simply use my Spear 3 and Spear 2 only while I talk about some other stuff. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm trying to complete auto attack chains, which means I do always 3 auto attack chains between my Spear 3, Spear 2 uses. This is not quite optimal. You could obviously use a bit earlier your Spear 3, Spear 2. But just for the sake of it, because it's a nice exercise in completing auto attack chain, I just do 3 auto chains always and then Spear 3, Spear 2. And one thing you may notice is that while the Spear 3 is going on, I'm already clicking on the Spear 2. So these two always queue up together, like this. And there's no auto attack started in between. This is something that many people struggle with doing, queuing skills properly. And it's very important if you try to reach something like 40,000 DPS. Eventually, you will have to queue abilities perfectly. So always get in the habit of using Spear 3, and during the cast of Spear 3, use Spear 2. This really avoids wasting a lot of time. And now if you see my damage, it's roughly at 27k, 28k. This is going to climb a bit more now to approximately 29 maybe once the golem is dead. A very easy way to beat this is obviously if you press the Spear 3, Spear 2 slightly more optimally and don't finish the auto chain every time. So like if we just use Spear 3 when we can here and then Spear 2 quickly, that's already a DPS increase. Because Spear 3 and Spear 2 are kind of your bread and butter skills. They do so much damage. It's actually insane, especially how much damage the Spear 3 does. So if you use them faster, you get more skill uses into the same time as I am doing. And well, yeah, that's advantageous for your DPS. For this first step, I recommend that you just focus on really doing this right. And once you have reached the same damage number as I, or rather, once you've beaten my damage number of 29,286 DPS, you are going to be ready for the next step. Now, in the next step, we are going to work with the grenade kit. Here we have a very strong skill, Grenade 2. Now, the problem of this skill is that it throws out 3 grenades, and sometimes these grenades, they fly like in different directions, and they might miss the target. And it sometimes will happen that even on the golem, you will miss them if you don't aim them properly. What you can do here is increase the size of the golem hitbox to make this easier to hit. I'm not going to do this to again give you an advantage in beating me, but if you find yourself struggling with this part of the practice, just pick a larger golem to ensure that your grenades always hit all their hits, and then you will have just a bit more damage. And the idea here is that Spear 2 and Grenade 2 have the same cooldown. So what you can do is whenever you use Spear 2, we immediately go into Grenade Kit and press Grenade 2. And then we exit the kit again. So let's just do that. And we Spear 3, Spear 2, open Grenade Kit, Grenade 2, exit Grenade Kit. And I want to show you something here very briefly. Spear 3, Spear 2. And that is exiting Grenade Kit. You see when you enter Grenade Kit, the Grenade Kit button itself goes on a 1 second cooldown. That means if you are too fast, once you've cast the Grenade 2, it might happen that you can't exit the Grenade Kit yet. So what I'm going to do is rather than exiting the Grenade Kit through the Stow Grenade Kit button over here, is that I'm going to instead exit it through the Weapon Swap Drop Bundle button here. The problem with this one is that if you drop bundle during the cast, like this, you just cancel the Grenade Kit skill. Like the grenades aren't being thrown. If I can show it here. Now they were thrown, okay. But if I go faster, like this, they're not thrown. And so what you have to do is you have to wait until the cast bar filled up before you exit the kit through drop bundle. If instead you exit with Stow Grenade Kit, you can immediately exit it without an issue. So using this button here can be faster if this is still on cooldown. But this one here allows you to exit Grenade Kit without any worry. So you have to decide while you're playing which situation you encounter more often. Whether you encounter more often that you're too fast and you can't exit through here, then you should wait for the cast bar of Grenade 2 to fill and exit through this option. Or if you find yourself you have enough time, you're a bit slower, then you can just always use Grenade Kit 2 here to exit. But if you're slower, this might also be a sign that you have to improve your speed. And as soon as you've improved your speed, there will be no way around using this part here. What I did here, because I really can't be bothered to click my weapon swap all the time, I put my weapon swap on my mouse now. I don't want to develop carpal tunnel for this video. So I have one skip button that I actually click on my mouse. So let us get started here with Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade Kit 2, exit Grenade Kit. Like this, and then we get out of it. And once you're done here, we go into it, press Grenade 2. And then we go again and just learn how to do this. Now you saw one thing here happening. The grenades are actually landing over here. Because when I click with my mouse, because I have my mouse over here, it's just going to throw them at my mouse. So what I have to do now is I have to go to my options and actually select snap ground target to current target to make sure that my grenades will just always land where I have my mouse. Not where I have my mouse, but where the enemy is. And You might have to do the same when playing Engineer. Snap ground target is a very good setting for this specific build. All right, now let's go and have a proper try. And we do 2 auto attack chains. And now you see the advantage of having practiced the auto attack chain counting, because now we don't have 3 full auto chains, we just have 2 with the grenade kit as well. And we can just get into kit. And now sometimes you see this ring of bleeds, of spikes coming out when I exit or enter the grenade kit. The grenade kit counts as a weapon swap, and this triggers my sigil of geomancy. That's why I have a sigil of geomancy equipped in my spear. And we just get some nice bonus bleeding. So this is now going to make our damage really shoot up. Already first number was 28k. And we're now at 31k. And we can climb even higher with this. Now, oh, I pressed the wrong button here, a superconducting signet. You can also press this for damage, but not in this step maybe. And you may see one thing, that whenever we go in here, we would also have grenade 4 and grenade 5 available. These are very strong skills. They do a lot of damage, and they are worth pressing for that reason. And in the next step, we're actually going to extend this grenade part, so we also press grenade 4 and grenade 5. But since grenade 4 and grenade 5 have longer cooldowns, it's like 15, 17 seconds or something like that, they won't be up every 5 seconds when we enter the kit. And instead, we will just press them whenever they are ready, respectively. And let's just finish this auto attack chain and then get in. And when you closely observe the cooldowns of my mech, you will see that he isn't actually using all skills perfectly off cooldown. And if you have the capacity, you can always press F1, F2, and F3 manually when you see the mech skills are ready. It is a damage increase to do so. But for this purpose here right now, I'm not pressing them, again, to give you a little bit of an advantage. Okay, so with grenade 2, we got 33,331 DPS. So this is now your next goal, spear 3, spear 2, grenade kit, grenade 2. Use the increased golem hitbox size if you need it. Make sure your grenades actually hit the golem and try to raise that. And now, as I've explained before, we can just add the freeze grenade and the poison grenade to this whole loop. So let's do it again. Now this increase will maybe not be that much as before, because it's just 2 skills with a relatively long cooldown. Grenade Kit 2 itself is weaker than Poison Grenade, for example, but since you can cast it so often, doing it off cooldown is a big, big contributor to our whole DPS. That's why we saw a 4k DPS increase just from doing this. Well, that and the Signet procs, I suppose. Sigil procs, I suppose. But yeah, you will see now when we extend this, so we go 2, 4, 5, and then leave. It's a bit of a smaller increase now. And we go 3, 2, 2. And next time we get in, we can again go... no, we can't yet. The 4 and 5 were not ready yet. Now they are ready, so 2, 4, 5, and get out. So yeah, first number you're going to see in chat, it's already 30,000 DPS. Not that much higher than before, because it's really just a few rare skill uses of long cooldown skills that are really strong. But now we're already at 33.5, and this will just keep climbing for the rest of this golem. So in this third step, try to also use this grenade kit 4 and 5. And obviously you could enter grenade kit at times when grenade 2 is not ready, just to use grenade 4 and 5, because the cooldowns don't perfectly line up. And this is a DPS increase, and it's actually something that the benchmark does. Because like pressing now grenade 4 and 5 is better than waiting here and doing spear auto attacks. It's something that I'm not doing because I really prefer the simplicity of always pairing the grenade kits skills at once, since there's also a tiny time waste by going into grenade kit if you're not playing perfectly. And for this beginner video, I really want simplicity, something that easily translates for you and that isn't like too mechanically intensive. All right, now we're at 34.6. As I said, it's only about 1k DPS gained from Grenade 4 and Grenade 5. Could gain a little more if I use them a little more often. We're not going to do that for here. For the next step, we want to press Superconducting Signet and Spear 5. And the way that I'm going to queue it is as follows. I'm just going 3, 2, Grenade 2, 4, 5, and then here and here. Just all in this order. And since these two fill up so much time, by the end I've finished my Spear 5, I can already use Spear 3, Spear 2 again. And since I used Spear 2, I can use Grenade 2 and then exit the kit. So I'm going to show you this combo once out of the context of the whole rotation. And this is a really long sequence basically that you just want to practice. 2, 4, 5, then Superconducting Signet, Spear 5, Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade 2, and now exit. So this is the whole combo you need to do. And then Spear 3, Spear 2, I'll just do it once more. Spear 3, Spear 2, Spear 2, 4, 5, Superconducting Signet, Spear 5, Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade 2, and exit. And now, once this all is on cooldown, we just do 3, 2, and Grenade 2. Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade 2. And now I could go Grenade 4, Grenade 5, but I'm instead favoring this loop. So all buttons pressed, and we're back at the start. Okay, Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade 2, Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade 2, and then Spear 3, Spear 2, 2, 4, 5, Conducting Signet, 5, 3, 2, 2, and that's it. So yeah, let's just do this part. And once we have done that, we are already almost where we want to be. So let's go. Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade Kit, 2, 4, 5, Superconducting Signet, 5, 3, 2. You notice that I queued everything. Like whenever I use an ability, I already use the next ability to really not have any downtime between them. Spear 3, Spear 2, Grenade 2. And the next time, once I see all this stuff coming off cooldown, next time we go in, it's 2, 4, 5, 5, 3, 2, Grenade Kits, and that's it. And this is already the full extent of the Condi Mech rotation. I think it loops really nicely if you do this looping rotation, that is. And 2, 4, 5. It's worth practicing this really that you get it down. And I'm going to show you one more trick with the Spear 5 afterwards. Because the Spear 5 is a leap. You kind of want to leap in place to not get moved. And basically what you do is you press the Spear 5 while your mouse cursor is somewhere over the UI. And since I'm mouse clicking it literally, it's always over the UI, but you could just like hover your health bar or something with your mouse while you cast Spear 5. If you're using your keyboard, which you should be using. You should be using your keyboard because it's so much better, so much faster. Keyboard or mouse buttons. All right, now we are at 38k DPS with this looping rotation. And we are done with the golem, 38.6. All right, now I haven't used two things yet. And this is the elite skill, which is just going to be used twice during the golem. And I have not pressed my mech skills manually. And once you do that, you should be able to go from this here to 40,000 DPS. Now this last step obviously involves a little bit of RNG. So I've actually pre-recorded this part so I don't have to do it live. Basically, what I'm doing in this last step is I'm also using my elite skill and I'm using my mech skills manually on top of them being on autocast, just to slightly optimize their use and making sure that they are being used off cooldown. And if you have issues with the poison grenade, for example, not hitting perfectly, you can check in a log. If you have 3 hits per poison grenade cast, you can simply spawn a bigger hitbox size of a golem, and this will eliminate this issue. The most prominent issue you're going to have is that once you press Spear 2, you're not entering Grenade Kit fast enough, and thus you have a small gap between the Spear 2 and the Grenade 2 skill cast that you won't notice because you don't have auto attacks enabled during Grenade Kit. And if you go into a log, you will see the gap if you investigate more closely, but really you can also see it from gameplay footage of yourself. So if you struggle in this last step of reaching really 40,000 DPS at the end, try to investigate that. Other than that, you have the advantage of stat infusions over what I'm showcasing here. So I hope that with this information on the Condi Mechanist loop, you have a step-by-step guide in reaching these goals and can get as close to 40,000 DPS as possible, perhaps reaching 40,000 DPS. Now, if you want to play a different class, not interested in Condi Mechanist for whatever reason, there are many cool builds in the benchmark list that if we looked at the start that can also reach 40,000 DPS on the golem. Like, especially if they have higher benchmarks, as I've said, it's going to generally get a little bit easier to reach that goal. So pick whatever you want and make up whatever stages of the rotation you want. I just chose Condi Mechanist because I think it's a really popular build that also very easily translates to actual fights, where the mech will just have perfect DPS uptime on your enemy, no matter what happens mechanically. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it, and I see you next time.